This is the Insurance Playbook, where legends aren't born, they're built. Each episode cracks open the pages of success, from battle-tested strategies to bold moves that separate the agents from the amateurs. Whether you're writing your first policy or writing history, you're in the right place. The Insurance Playbook podcast starts now. Hosted by Brinton Atkinson.
All right, welcome to the Insurance Playbook. I'm your host, Brinton Atkinson. This podcast is sponsored by Spark AI Partners. And here is where we pull back the curtain on the world of insurance and financial services. Every week we sit down with professionals like Ted here and just basically talk about stories, strategies, insider tips, anything that can help us win in the insurance game. Today we have Ted Reardon. He has been in the industry almost 40 years. He's a fourth generation in his insurance business. His great-great-grandfather started Reardon Insurance back in 1922. Ted, take us through just your background a little bit. What was it like growing up, being in the insurance industry, having your dad be in it? What made you decide to get involved in it, and what's kind of brought you to where you are now?
Well, as kids, it was actually run out of my parents' house. So
Okay.
we'd actually have clients eating breakfast with us when we were little kids. And we get to know all the clients. And actually, because of that, that is probably, being an insurance agent was probably the last thing that I ever wanted to do in my life. Just by having to be grown up
The way it
with it.
works.
And then how I get into it was graduate from college. I think it's an age-old story. Met a girl, and I needed money. So I need the only jobs that were available when I graduated in 1982 was insurance jobs. So I want to get married. I need money for a ring. So I started my career in insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And that was up since.
And then how long after you started your career was it before you bought out your dad's agency?
I started in 1982. And by 1994, that's when I actually purchased the agency. But I started working for them in 1988, with the express agreement that at a certain date, there was a certain date in 1994 that I was going to buy it. So it wasn't going to be a prolonged thing. It was definitely something planned out. And the interesting thing was my dad was not tech savvy at all. He never owned a cell phone, didn't know how the answering machine worked, couldn't figure out a copy machine, the fax machine. We had our first computer come in for a rating system in 1994. And he came into my office and he said, "I'm done." Like, what do you mean you're done? And he goes, "That thing's coming in the front door and I'm going at the back door." 2 weeks later, he sold it to me.
Yeah.
He wanted nothing to do with it at all.
Did you have conversation with him after that happened about like how things ran more smoothly, or did he just kind of?
He really wasn't interested in hearing it. He said, "This is yours now. I'm handing the football off to you. So you sound like the quarterback. Here's the ball, running back. Have a good time."
Yeah.
And
That's
he
awesome.
never really got involved in it ever, beyond that.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like, so when he handed it off to you, it was just the one location. And just this last year in July, you opened up your third office, right?
We opened up our third office, right? And we are virtual. We're a hybrid, actually. We're a hybrid agency. We do have brick and mortar locations. So if we want to meet a client, we can do so. We pay rent, all that. Our rent is a whopping $75 a month. We share space with real estate agents. They love it. They call it elf on a shelf because we have our licenses up on their shelf. I think the last time I went into one of the offices to meet with a client was about 3.5 years ago.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah,
they'll book an appointment with you, and then you go into the office to meet
right,
with them, and you have an agreement. It's a real estate agency where you have your office, and you have an agreement with them that you can use the office. And
right. Yeah, well, we have keys. We've got we got a lease, and I can get any time I want. But we're never there. It's the best situation for them because they never see us.
yeah, yeah, I want that kind of agreement. That's amazing. Gives you
It's great. We tell the clients, look, we'll absolutely meet with you, not a problem. But I kind of tongue in cheek and said, look, I'm not really that interesting. And so if you meet me, you're not going to be excited about it. And there's absolutely nothing that we can do extra meeting in person that we can't do either on the phone or email.
mhm,
It's actually slower in person.
yeah, yep,
And our target market isn't people that don't have computers and don't have email and don't have cell phones and that aren't bought into the tech. Um, that's just not who we're looking for.
right, right, absolutely. And as I understand it, I mean, you do offer a lot of lines of PNC and some life. You specialize in commercial insurance, is that right?
We're pretty much half and half. We're half commercial, half personal. The commercial end of it is more the BOP, small commercial auto, workman's comp, umbrella. We don't have one excess lines company. We don't do excess lines at all.
Hmm.
So we specifically made the model so that the things we do really, really well. And we're not a one-stop shop. We don't do everything.
What made you decide to kind of focus on that specific area and not, let's just say, offer focus on health or anything else that's available to insurance agents?
I think you can be a jack of all trades and master of none,
Hmm.
and then you're you're sort of good in everything, but you're not really, really good in a few things.
Hmm.
I decided I want to be really, really good in a few things and let somebody else take the other stuff, right? Which I can't keep up with everything. I can't keep up with the trends in health insurance and Social Security and life insurance and P&C, and it's impossible. So I just decided let's focus on things we're really good at it and get rid of the rest.
Absolutely. And speaking of trends, what trends are you seeing right now that affect your company?
It affected us. Well, it was affecting us back in COVID. When COVID hit, it was a necessity to, adapt, improvise, and overcome. Because no, we were a traditional agency at that point. We had 4 or 5 CSRs, myself, another producer, and then all of a sudden we didn't.
Hmm.
And I decided that this might be a while. So what I decided to do was take the entire agency on a service center model where we don't need the CSRs. All we do is sales. So every insurance company we have right now has a service center, and we utilize the service center for 100% of our clients.
So you're not doing the paper pushing and all that. You're
Nope, that's all handled by them. We have a specific way we did it. How I realigned the insurance agency so that it fit that model, and it's been great. It's been I cut my expenses down by probably 70%.
hmm
Service center for anybody out there. I hope the insurance companies don't hear this. The best deal on the planet. You
that's
pay
awesome.
2% of your commission. They handle everything.
Yeah, that's worth it 100 times
Yeah,
over.
they're doing claims and underwriting and talking to the clients, and I don't have to worry about payroll, 401ks, HR, um, personality conflicts, vacation, all that sort of stuff. Gone, just
Hmm.
gone.
Really
So I'll
just
do
lets you focus on the
It
moving
really does.
pieces and
Yep.
moving your
For
business
what we
forward.
should be paid, we're not paid to be high price CSRs. We're paid for our expertise.
Hmm. Yeah. And so I guess take me from as a kid, you had people coming into your house eating breakfast with you, and your dad was writing policies, to now in a digital world, and you're a hybrid agency. What is I mean, your approach on gaining that trust, like the trust that you would get around the breakfast table, but in a digital world?
I believe that and especially nowadays, it's response time. So if you can respond to your client's questions and their inquiries for new business quickly, everybody doesn't have time. If you talk to anybody, everybody's trying to do 8 million things at the same time, and you just want to get this stuff done. We're a checklist. I know insurance is just a checklist. They want to get it done and off their plate. So because we're not handling, all the changes and billing questions and claims and whatever else is going on, we can actually focus in on what they're actually calling for, which is our expertise in insurance. Get them out a quote, get it buttoned up, and they can go on with their life. And we talk to them on the phone, and I think they get a sense of that we know what we're doing.
Hmm.
And they'll ask every client will ask, hey, can you do this, can you do that? And we'll just, if we can't, we just rip the Band-Aid off and say, no, I'm sorry, we can't do that.
Right.
We don't, there's no reason to draw it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would say our close ratio for our people looking for insurance is hovering around 50% that that we get from our website.
That's great. Is that your main acquisition, is just organic traffic to your website, or what do you do with it?
That's a good part of it. The other part is we get a lot of referrals from our existing clients because our existing clients like us.
Hmm.
And we're working on third, fourth generation clients at this point, and then they're getting married, and all, it's the same thing. And then we just get referrals from not only family members, but their coworkers. And then I'm involved in a networking group, so that helps. But I mean, I would say majority of it is cross-selling, account rounding, website, and referrals.
Do you have any specific strategy that you use for the referrals, like things that you say to your clients, or does it you just focus on helping them have a good experience and really just truly being helpful to them?
I can sum it up in 2 words: Google review.
I noticed I think you had like 177 Google 5-star Google reviews.
That's in Medway. That's our Medway location. Our Webster location, which has only been here for about a year, we're at 61. I look at it as, who's on top of the hill. So right now we're in second place in Webster. We've only been here for a little over a year. Our Medway location, we're number one, and our Mendon location, we're number one.
So that
So
anybody searching is going to find you. Do you have that physical location? Is that on your Google profile? Your like the brick and
yeah, we
mortar
have
office?
these locations and very big font, and then it's bold, underlined by appointment only. We have signs up on there. Please do not come in here without an appointment. We're not here.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that really is helpful to have that physical location. But like you said, most people nowadays are technologically savvy and save some time to
They don't
do
have
it
time.
online.
They literally don't have time to drive down to an insurance agency to talk to me. They can just do it right with the phone, hands free if they're in the car or, or at night or whatever. Like the last time I did it was, like I said, like 3.5 years ago. There was a client getting divorced and they weren't talking to each other. So they wanted to meet at my office so that I'm not kidding. There was the husband or the ex-husband or whatever was one end of our conference table. I was in the middle. The wife was on the other. The husband would tell me what to tell the wife, and then the wife would come back but even though they're 10 feet apart, they could hear what they were saying. But I did that for about 10 minutes. I'm like, look, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a counselor. Look, I'm your insurance agent.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of insurance were they getting?
It was just homeowners and, personal auto. It wasn't anything extravagant.
Yeah. That's crazy. Well, it makes for a good story at least, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely. And then within, I mean, do you see any emerging opportunities or areas for growth with your business?
absolutely. I think that we're insurance agencies, whether the owners know it or not, we're at a really crucial point. This is a point, an evolution point. Insurance agencies have always evolved. I mean, if I look at the first insurance policy that my great grandfather wrote in 1866, it's all handwritten, right? Now we're paperless. We've been paperless for 20 years. So that doesn't exist anymore. So things are evolving. Even like the first homeowners policy, I remember back in the day, my dad telling me that insurance company in North America created the homeowners policy, but before that, it was a separate liability policy and a separate property policy. And then they had this great idea to put them both together, hence the homeowners policy. So it's always been evolving. The part that's evolving now is there's an issue with getting qualified personnel. It's hard to attract people to work and work for, if you train someone, a CSR, they're really not any good to you for about a year. And then by that time, they're either moving on or trying to get another job. They want a, pay increase or whatever's going on. So that's the big difficulty with insurance agencies now is getting qualified personnel. I believe that the next evolution is going to be insurance agencies that only use service centers because the big companies, you pick, Travelers or, Hanover, any of the big companies, they can attract new people because they have all the benefits. They get the 401ks and they've got chance for advancement, training. They can go from a service center over to underwriting or claims or management, where an agency can't offer that. You're at CSR, you're at a CSR. That's it. So it makes most sense to utilize those service centers and get those trained people the only thing they know is that one company. That's all they need to know. And they're much better at it than a CSR here would be because CSR and the agency has to know 10 companies and it's hard to keep track of everything. So I believe the future of the independent agent is going to be an agent that takes the time to look at what they do well, utilize the service centers so they don't have to deal with the personnel issues to make the most money. And then I think there's going to be a separate set of agencies that handles all the excess line stuff that service centers don't exist for. So they're going to be basically specialized that way. And I think that's where it's going.
Mm-hmm. I think there's discussion of what are computers and AI and everything going to take our jobs now. I think that the personal interaction is still really important, but like you said, I think utilizing tools within our business to possibly speed up that reaction time, get the quotes out to them faster. And like you said, now we can focus on the sales though, and that relationship instead of the pushing paperwork,
Right.
and servicing it.
Yep. I harken back to my Boy Scout days. I'm an Eagle Scout.
Hey,
So
me too.
yeah, well, no kidding. Yeah. Well, what
Yeah.
year?
What's that?
What year to get yours?
Well, you're gonna make me do math here. 7. I'm
Beat
a little
that.
bit younger than you.
But the reason I mentioned that is not to put feathers in my cap, but our scoutmaster was a retired Marine gunnery sergeant, and he ran the troop like a Marine troop. And he always impressed this on us. He goes, improvise, adapt, and overcome. That was their motto. And that's what I put into this insurance agency. You have to improvise, adapt, and overcome. You have to improvise by using the existing technologies and use it to its max. Don't cheap out on computers. We've got the fastest computers that I can buy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a mechanic with his tools. You're not going to Harbor Freight if you're a professional mechanic. You're going to SBA, and you want to get the good stuff that works. And we get the good stuff that works. Recently, I just had an issue where my desktop was Windows 10. They did an update, and all the entire all my icons disappeared. So I said, well, it's going to be updated anyway. I'm getting rid of it. I'm getting a laptop with Windows 11. Ordered it, and the tech guy we use, he goes, Ted, this is like overkill. And that's not overkill. Because I'm going to have this thing for 5 years. I want it fast, 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 fast. I want this thing to have some guts to it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, oh yeah, this thing will fry, yeah. So,
especially with how fast technology evolves.
oh God, yeah. I don't remember what the rule is, but it's some kind of rule every 6 months it gets better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, that would be my advice. Anybody, don't cheap out in computers. Those are your tools. You know, they're cheap. Get them fast. Get them accurate. Don't cheap out on routers or your internet provider. It's not worth it.
Yep. Absolutely. I agree 100%. Makes your job a lot quicker and easier and better experience. In regards to, I mean, growing an agency, what would you say some of the biggest struggles are that the agencies face right now when they're trying to scale and grow?
Actually, the biggest struggle right now is attracting personnel. I mean, if you're a traditional agent with a traditional brick and mortar, and you have people driving, you have your personnel driving to your location to sit in front of the computer and service clients, finding those people, good qualified people that want to work, that want to work the 40 hours, are going to stay with you for a while. I think is the biggest challenge right there. I think the second biggest challenge is finding good companies. And I think that's been forever. These things have been around forever, finding good personnel, finding good companies. But in our case, it's finding good companies that have service centers. I don't represent a company that doesn't have a service center.
Yeah. Which makes a huge difference for you, obviously.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so we've had companies approach us, and that is literally my first question. Do you have a service center? Oh, no, we don't. Sorry. It doesn't fit the model. I think that's where it's going, but with a traditional agency, I think it's absolutely finding personnel.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you mentioned you don't need the CSRs anymore because
Nope.
everything goes through the service center. Do you also find a struggle to recruit or retain writing agents?
That's difficult, but you've got to think out of the box because you've got a limited amount of experienced producers, and I think it's a dying breed. So you get new blood in there. You've got to look at other sources that you normally wouldn't. My biggest source are real estate agents because they're already in sales. They already talk to people. Second source, Dunkin' Donuts. If you go through the drive-through at Dunkin' Donuts, and I'm not sure if Dunkin' Donuts is out in Utah, but it's probably in North Carolina, but any type of donut place or McDonald's, Burger King, every once in a while, you'll get somebody that's talking to you. It's very personable. and you can just tell they're a people person and they're type A personality. I don't hesitate at all by saying, "Hey, I'm an insurance agent. I'm looking. If you're looking for another job, I can, we can train you to be into insurance sales."
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a few that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually, one of my best producers, I was on the phone trying to buy a shipping container of all things. Was going to build an office in my backyard out of a shipping container and mod it out
Yeah,
and everything.
yeah.
And the way that he talked about the shipping containers being watertight and windtight and explaining everything that he did, same deal. Told him about about the opportunity and brought him on the team, and he's crushed it. So,
It's that needle in the haystack, but they're out there.
yeah, I think the hard part is in our, if we're trying to hire, most businesses will go to Indeed or ZipRecruiter or something like that. I don't know love to hear your take on it, but I feel like sometimes the people there are looking for a job because they're dissatisfied where they're at, or maybe they're not good where they're at, or they're unemployed. I don't know. What do you think?
I've tried that, and honestly, I think there's too many people in the pie because there's that one person, but you've got ZipRecruiter or Indeed or whatever, and they might be contacted by 100 different employers. So they're looking at where's my best deal. Obviously, I do the same thing. Where's my best opportunity for advancement and money, and I hate to say it, but it's not a small independent insurance agent because there's very little growth there. You could become a producer, but you're not going to own it. So their best bet is they can go to a company. A company has more upward mobility, better chances for advancement, more money, and all that. So I think an independent agent has to think outside the box,
Mm-hmm.
unless they're a mega agency that World Insurance or whatever that have you know huge amounts of offices and personnel and all that. Then there's a chance for advancement there. But your typical 9 to 10 employee agency, there's very little upward mobility there.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to attract young people. You're going to be attracting somebody that's in their 50s and going to be retiring.
Right. Right. I agree. Well, as we wrap up here, I just wanted to see what advice, like I said, having been in the insurance industry about 40 years now, what advice would you give to new agency owners or struggling agency owners?
My advice would be, take a couple of steps back. Really look at your agency from a mile up to see where it's going, what you're doing. To get away from the day-to-day craziness of things going on and putting out fires and see where you want to take it. And I think that if you actually do that and take an honest look at it, you're going to realize that the personnel issue, attracting new workers, isn't going away. It's going to only get worse because the baby boomers are aging out, Gen X's are starting to age out a little bit, and that's going to be a problem. Now, I don't know if I can do a plug here, but I've got my own consulting business. It's called Virtual Agent Consultants, and we help existing agencies that have that problem transfer over to a virtual platform and utilizing the service centers. And we've been able to do it for several agencies, cutting down their expenses by almost 70%. That's 70%, while increasing their retention so the end result is more money in their pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. And definitely, yeah, anybody go check that out. Where would they learn more?
Our website is virtualagentconsultants.com.
Virtualagentconsultants.com.
Yeah, so virtualagentconsultants.com. Or
Perfect.
they can call me at my office here in Massachusetts at 508-533-8914, and I'm extension 0, and I'll be happy to talk to them.
Perfect. Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you taking all the time here, Ted, today to be on the podcast. Loved hearing the story. Everybody's got their own story, but especially with it running in the family and some of the insights you have into the industry and what we can do moving forward. So appreciate it. Any last comments before we end?
Yep. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And, it's interesting to share my insights. I mean, I never thought I was important enough to have someone looking for my insights, but maybe I am.
I think, yeah, you're a gem there, and I think you have a lot more know-how than you think. And I think especially you have the ability to be a bigger thinker. You're rare in the fact that you've had insurance in your family so long. So you do have I guess the hindsight in 2020 of how things have evolved and patterns and how that will continue to happen moving forward. So, and definitely
Hopefully.
you're on it with the technology, staying on top of
Yeah.
technology. So,
Yeah. All right. Thank you
absolutely.
very, very much.
Well, thank you as well. And again, this is the Insurance Playbook podcast. We've had Ted Reardon on. Super thankful for him. And if you know anybody who needs to hear this, share it with them. DM them. That's how people find out about our podcast. So, and until next time, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.